Thailand, known for its rich culture and beautiful landscapes, draws many visitors each year. In 2019, Miriam Beelte, a young tourist from Germany, traveled to Thailand during a business trip to explore its famous beaches. Sadly, her journey ended in tragedy. What initially appeared to be an accident soon became clear as investigators uncovered evidence that her death was not accidental. Surveillance footage revealed unsettling details that led to a deeper investigation into what happened to Miriam. The tragic story unfolded on Ko Si Chang Island in Thailand. With a small population of around 7,000, the island is quieter and less visited by tourists compared to other parts of Thailand. The locals mostly make their living through fishing, but Ko Si Chang is known for its friendly atmosphere and is a popular spot for those looking to experience authentic Thai culture and natural beauty. In March 2019, 26-year-old Miriam Beelte, a German engineer, went on a solo trip to Thailand. Born and raised in Hildesheim, Germany, Miriam was a dedicated and talented student, earning her master's degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Hanover. She quickly landed a job as a design engineer. Miriam loved her work, but also had a passion for travel. At the end of March 2019, her job took her to Southeast Asia for business meetings with suppliers. After finishing her work, Miriam decided to take a few days off to explore Thailand on her own. She had always been drawn to the country's stunning beaches, rich culture, and warm climate. Miriam was experienced with traveling alone and took care to stay safe by following basic precautions. She avoided going out at night alone, kept her valuables close, and was cautious around strangers. Despite the usual risks of solo travel, Miriam was excited to see more of Thailand. She arrived in Bangkok, the bustling capital, and from there traveled to Pattaya, a coastal city. Once in Pattaya, she decided to explore Ko Si Chang Island for a few hours and then head back to Pattaya by evening. On Sunday, April 7th, Miriam took a ferry from Pattaya to Ko Si Chang, hoping to explore the island's beaches, taste fresh seafood, and visit some of its ancient temples. After arriving, she rented a motorcycle, a popular way to get around the island, and set off to explore. One of her stops was a white stone temple perched on a hill. After parking her motorcycle at the foot of the hill, she greeted the flower vendor there with a friendly wave and began to climb the stone stairs toward the temple. CCTV footage later showed her walking up, but she was never seen coming back down. Normally, it took about 5 minutes to go up and return from the temple. Miriam made it to the top, but after that, she was never seen again. This raised suspicions because the stone stairs were the only path up and down the hill. There were no other routes. Her rented motorcycle was still parked at the bottom, near the flower kiosk. The biggest mystery was why Miriam stayed up there so long and why she never came back down. Miriam was known to disconnect from social media for hours at a time when traveling alone, often immersing herself in the moment. But when night came on April 7th and she still hadn't been heard from, her family in Germany started to worry. Around 5 hours later, a local man was walking up the quiet path to the white stone temple when he noticed something unusual. Beneath some rocks and scattered leaves, he found a body, partially covered but not well hidden. She was badly injured, her clothes torn, and there was blood visible. Shocked, the man called the police right away. When officers arrived, they confirmed the body was Miriam Beelte, the German tourist who had gone missing. After the police examined Miriam's body, they confirmed that her death was not accidental. She had injuries, including a broken leg and wounds to her head and chest, likely caused by a hard object. It was soon confirmed that she had been essayed before her death. However, the full details of what happened were still unclear. The stone temple where Miriam had been was monitored by security cameras. These cameras showed Miriam climbing the hill, but they also recorded a young man following her. The footage showed that the man arrived at the foot of the hill on a motorcycle, parked, and spoke briefly with a flower vendor before buying a small bouquet of marigolds. The vendor later noticed the man walking quickly after Miriam, and later saw him coming back down alone. The vendor observed that the man's clothes were wet and seemed stained. When he asked if everything was all right, the man waved and said he had just fallen. Feeling suspicious, the vendor made a note of the man's motorcycle number and tried to recollect his physical appearance. This information was passed to the police after Miriam's body was discovered. The police quickly identified the motorcycle as belonging to Korn Devil, a 24-year-old local resident of Ko Si Chang. Korn lived alone on Ko Si Chang. He worked as a beach cleaner. He had a boat and a motorcycle, and after work, he would relax at home watching TV and drinking beer. He kept to himself and didn't seem like anyone special. However, few people knew that he had a serious substance problem, which often made him act unpredictably. The next day, the police quickly located Korn at his home using his motorcycle's number plate. In Thailand, it's customary for authorities to recount the details of the crime as part of their investigations, a practice that has been in place for over a century. To piece together the details, 40 officers took Korn back to the scene of the crime. There, he was asked to reconstruct the events, filling in the gaps of what had happened. After a few hours of questioning, he confessed to the crime. The case was solved quickly, within 24 hours of Miriam's death. Korn explained that on the morning of April 7th, he woke up, drank 2 mugs of beer, and some strong liquor. But that wasn't enough for him, so he used substance. Afterward, he got on his motorcycle and rode around the island to find someone to engage with. He saw Miriam at the motorbike rental stand, approached her, and asked if she was interested in a sexual encounter. Miriam ignored him, hopped on her motorbike, and left, unaware that he was following her. He told the police that Miriam was an attractive woman traveling by herself and that she caught his attention. He stopped at a flower kiosk, bought a small bouquet of marigolds, and went after her. When he caught up with her, he tried to start a conversation. Miriam felt uncomfortable and politely declined when he offered her the flowers, suggesting she might want to have a sexual encounter. Miriam, clearly surprised and uncomfortable, told him to leave her alone before walking off, but Korn chased after her. He eventually caught up with her, dragged her into a nearby wooded area, and attacked her. Afterward, Miriam managed to break free and tried to run, but she slipped and injured her leg. At that point, Korn panicked, realizing that if she survived, she could tell the authorities what had happened. He chased after her and, in a fit of anger, hit her with a rock. Miriam died from her injuries. Later, he tried to hide her body by dragging it further up the hill and covering it with leaves and branches. Then went back to his home and tried to act as if nothing had happened. But within hours, he was arrested. The police had solved the case in less than a day. Thanks to the man who reported it, the security camera footage and information from the flower vendor who had seen him earlier. During questioning, Korn admitted to the crime and even helped the police by recalling what had happened. His confession, combined with surveillance footage and witness statements, provided clear evidence of his guilt. Korn's trial took place just 3 months after the incident. He pled guilty to the murder of Miriam. The key evidence presented in court included the footage from security cameras and his own admission of guilt. In an emotional moment, his mother spoke in court, expressing her shock and sorrow over her son's actions. She apologized on his behalf and urged the court to give him the harshest possible sentence. Korn was sentenced to death for the murder of Miriam. The locals were shocked and deeply disturbed. It was the most brutal crime the island had ever seen, an act so cruel that it earned him the grim nickname Devil Korn. The people of Ko Si Chang offered their condolences to Miriam's family, and despite the tragedy, many tourists continued to visit the island. In Miriam's memory, the University of Hanover, where she had studied, set up a scholarship in her name to support future generations of engineers. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel for more true crime content. See you next time.